Welcome to this deep dive audio insight. It's designed really for you, the academic leaders who are guiding institutions and shaping the future of your students every single day.
And today we're focusing on a single question, a really important one that school principals and owners often face.
Absolutely. It's a question that's very fair, very direct, and it usually starts like this. Is the Writewiz program expensive at 600 rupees per student per annum?
It's a natural question, isn't it? It's rooted in, proper financial diligence.
Of course. And that figure, 600, when you look at it in isolation, well, it's a lot more than a generic thin copybook.
It is. But that comparison right there, that's the fundamental issue we need to talk about.
So our mission today isn't really to justify a price tag.
No, not at all. It's to fundamentally reframe the entire conversation. To compare that annual fee of 600 rupees per student to the cost of a simple consumable handwriting book is to, well, misunderstand what's actually being purchased.
You're saying it's not an apples-to-apples comparison?
Not even close. You're not just buying paper and ink. What you're doing is making an investment in permanent academic infrastructure.
Okay, infrastructure, that's a strong word. What does that mean in this context?
It means you're securing a comprehensive, year-long managed service ecosystem, one that operates across your entire institution.
So let's be really clear about that distinction, because it sounds like that difference is what dictates the student outcomes.
It's everything. Look, a cheap copying book is just a product. It's passive, it's unmanaged, and frankly, it assumes a level of expertise in your teaching staff that, through no fault of their own, just isn't there.
And what's the alternative?
Writewiz. It's a comprehensive, multi-year curriculum. It's built on 2 decades of research using a graphological approach that focuses really deeply on mastering foundational motor skills. It's systemic.
Systemic. So if it's this whole infrastructure, this system, why does it cost what it does? I suppose the question comes back to that the cheapest option often seems like the best one on a spreadsheet.
Well, the cheapest option rarely is in the long run. And this is where it gets really interesting, actually. We need to examine the hidden price of choosing a cheap, unmanaged, or sort of internal solution.
You're talking about what people in business call the total cost of ownership, or TCO.
Exactly. When a school opts for, say, a stack of cheap books or relies on an in-house system, maybe teachers photocopying worksheets or just teaching handwriting how they remember learning it, you're not actually saving money.
You're just moving the cost somewhere else.
Precisely. You're transferring the cost away from the vendor and onto your academic staff, your student outcomes, and ultimately your school's reputation.
Okay, let's unpack that. Let's start with the burden on the staff.
Yeah.
The academic burden.
Right. So handwriting instruction is highly specialized. I mean, it requires real knowledge of fine motor skill development, pressure, slant, height, spacing.
A little nuance.
Tiny details that have a huge impact. And these are things that are simply not covered in any depth in the standard Indian BE or MEd training programs. It's just not part of the curriculum.
So what happens in the classroom then, without that formal training?
You get inconsistency. Section A's teacher might use one method, Section B's teacher another. Across different classes, different years, there's no single standardized approach.
And the student is caught in the middle of that.
The student gets fragmented instruction. It requires constant reteaching, repeated correction. And that inconsistency, that translates directly into your first hidden cost.
Which is?
Repeated, inefficient teacher correction time. Your most valuable resource, your skilled teaching staff, are spending hours trying to diagnose and correct handwriting issues they were never formally trained to handle.
That's a massive cost, not just in salary, but in teacher fatigue, in morale.
Enormous. And it's an opportunity cost, too. It's all time they could have spent preparing for their core subjects.
Okay, so that's the cost to the staff. What about the cost of student performance?
Well, that's the second major issue. Without a structured, sustained, research-backed methodology, which, let's be clear, a simple book cannot provide students experience what we call fading gains.
Fading gains. What do you mean by that?
They might show a little improvement for a few weeks, when there's a push on neatness. But without systematic reinforcement, those gains they just dissipate.
It doesn't stick.
It doesn't stick. It's like pouring water into a cracked bucket, a complete waste of effort.
And I imagine this all comes to a head during exams.
Now that is the truly critical cost, the one that directly impacts your school's results and, the parents' faith in you, the risk to high-stakes examinations.
Okay, so what happens when a student with poor handwriting training sits for a board exam?
2 things happen that actively undermine their success. First, It consumes crucial cognitive resources.
The brain power we talked about earlier.
Exactly. Think of a student in a long 10-mark history paper. They're trying to recall dates, structure a complex argument, use precise vocabulary, and at the same time, they're spending mental energy just managing the physical act of forming legible letters.
Worrying about whether the examiner can read it.
Yes. Worrying about the height of their loops, the pressure on the pen. Writewiz works to make those mechanics automatic, subconscious. That frees up all that cognitive capacity for higher order thinking.
For the actual subject matter.
The planning, the vocabulary, the argument. An unmanaged approach leaves that student literally fighting their own hand.
And what's the second consequence you mentioned?
The second is the direct academic risk. We call it weak exam transfer.
Weak exam transfer. So that's when the neatness they show in a practice book just disappears under pressure.
That's it. They can produce neat writing slowly in a calm classroom, but when the pressure is on, when they're writing against the clock in a board exam, illegibility takes over.
And the result?
The result is that examiners struggle to read the paper. Crucial points are missed, and the student risks losing valuable marks simply due to poor presentation, even if their knowledge is perfect.
So an investment that protects those critical final marks isn't really an expense at all.
It's insurance. It's insurance for academic success.
Okay, so we've established the hidden costs of the cheaper route. It's quite convincing. Let's flip the ledger now. Tell me exactly what that systematic annual investment that 600 rupees per student actually delivers.
Right. Let's break down what that fee buys you. It buys you the entire, comprehensive, managed ecosystem of Writewiz.
And the first component of that ecosystem is?
The first, and I'd argue the most important, is school-wide standardization and consistency.
So no more Section A doing one thing and Section B doing another.
Absolutely not. Your school gets a curriculum that's meticulously mapped from LKG all the way up to Class 12.
All the way to Class 12. That's comprehensive.
It is. It ensures every student, no matter their classroom, their grade, or their teacher, learns the exact same research-backed method, the Writewiz script.
And that builds a consistent habit over many years.
It builds habits, not just temporary neatness. That's the difference between isolated instruction and a true institutional method.
But a method is only as good as the person teaching it. How do you ensure teachers can deliver this?
That's the next critical piece. That standardization is continuously reinforced through robust teacher capability building. The fee covers continuous professional development.
Okay, so you train the teachers.
We do. We recognize your teachers are experts in their subjects, but they need specialized training to become handwriting instructors. It starts with intensive training, what we call GRE-IEM training.
Yeah.
Grade empowering masters. And this is much more than a basic workshop. It ensures the teacher doesn't just know what to copy. They understand the motor skills theory, the graphological principles, the whole method behind the curriculum.
So they become diagnosticians, not just supervisors.
Exactly. They can diagnose and correct, not just hand out workbooks. And that's backed up with refresher training during the year and even teacher practice worksheets, so the methodology is really internalized.
It sounds very thorough. What about monitoring? How does a principal know the program is actually being implemented correctly in every classroom?
Another great question. You're also purchasing systemic support and critical monitoring. The system has built-in classroom routines, follow-up, and external auditing.
External auditing.
Yes. Our dedicated school academic advisors conduct mandatory monthly visits. They review observation records, check for consistency, and they provide simple, actionable reports directly to you, the principal, and your management team.
So there's accountability baked into the system.
Complete oversight. It ensures your investment is performing and gives you measurable proof.
Now, you mentioned something earlier that I want to come back to. Staff turnover. It's a huge headache for any school leader.
It is. The high churn rate in education can cripple institutional knowledge. A key teacher leaves, and their methods and knowledge often walk out the door with them. It can create chaos.
So how does a system like this help?
Well, this is where the Writewiz investment delivers institutional resilience. The system is, quite simply, staff turnover proof.
How so?
Because the curriculum, the resources, the training methodology, it's all centralized, standardized, and externally supported. The quality of instruction remains constant and high, even when individual teachers change.
So the expertise is embedded in the system itself, not just in one person's head.
That's the key. It protects your academic output for the long term.
And throughout all of this, the end goal is always the exams.
Always. The curriculum is relentlessly focused on exam readiness. It's a systematic progression. Students start with legibility, but the program intentionally moves into speed development.
So it's not just about being neat, it's about being neat and fast.
Neat, fast, and fluent under pressure. The practice incorporates fluency drills, timed sessions, and crucially applying the skills to subject-specific layouts,
Like what?
like formatting long answers in science or structuring extended writing in English. The goal is simple. Make writing a tool for confidence, not a source of stress, in the exam hall.
Okay, that's a very clear breakdown. Before we close, I want to touch on one more thing. The Grophia kit. There can sometimes be confusion about it.
Yes, it's important to be completely transparent here. The Grophia kit costs an additional 350 rupees.
And is it mandatory?
Absolutely not. It is vital to communicate to both staff and parents that this is an optional, non-compulsory add-on.
So what is its purpose then?
It's purely functional. It provides patented, motor skill-focused self-correction tools, simple devices to check letter height or slant consistency or spacing.
So it helps the student check their own work.
Exactly. It empowers them to correct independently, which fosters self-reliance, and for the school, the benefit is clear. It significantly reduces the teacher's marking and correction load.
Freeing them up for higher level instruction.
It's an efficiency tool, a very effective one, but it is not mandatory for the success of the core curriculum.
That's a very useful clarification. Finally, let's talk about the parents. They are the ultimate stakeholders. How should a school leader frame that core 600 rupee fee to them?
This is so important. When you say 600 rupees a year, it sounds like a lump sum, but you should frame it as its remarkably modest monthly equivalent.
Which is about 50 rupees a month.
50 rupees a month, that's the cost of a single cup of tea, perhaps.
When you put it like that.
When you communicate this to parents, you link that small systemic investment directly to powerful, visible outcomes for their child. You tell them you're guaranteeing improved legibility, you're increasing their child's writing speed for critical exams.
And what you're really delivering is confidence.
You're delivering greater academic confidence that transfers across every single subject they study. You are investing in their future success, not just buying them a book.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it really feels like it comes down to a clear leadership choice.
It does. You're at a crossroads. Do you opt for the short-term perceived cost saving of a basic copybook? Or do you commit to the long-term investment in a research-backed, managed academic infrastructure?
It's a choice between a product and a program.
Between short-term spending and long-term systemic resilience.
So to close, let's be very direct with the advice.
If your goal is the cheapest book, choose a book. If your goal is school-wide handwriting that holds in exams, choose a structured program.
The final thought for you, the listener, is this. The systemic consistency you invest in today does not just improve student penmanship. It protects your school's brand reputation, and ultimately it enhances your students' ability to succeed for years to come.